Welcome back to the channel, guys. I am Luna Johnson from the GH Spoilers YouTube channel. It is Thursday. It's a beautiful day, but it is currently 3 a.m. here in New York City. The rain is violently lashing against my window, and I'm running on zero sleep and pure adrenaline. Today's update is about a literal life-or-death showdown under Windermere. Let us dive straight into this absolute madness. Okay, I literally cannot believe this. Can we please process this mess together? Unbelievable, guys. Oh, what is going on here? Might delete this later, but I seriously cannot stay silent about this anymore. I just hit record because my brain is actively melting out of my ears, and I need the digital hive mind to witness my existential collapse. Look, I have been watching this show for decades, carrying the emotional weight of these fictional characters on my back, and suddenly, the writers decide to just detonate the entire lore in one single lore-shattering climax. Basically, I am running on 3 drops of iced coffee and sheer psychic damage. Please, tell me I am not the only one losing my mind over this. Honestly, I am severely sleep-deprived. My filters are completely gone, and I am about to deliver some unfiltered, hard truths. Because some legends are carrying this entire journey on for their shoulders, while others are single-handedly testing my sanity. Listen, we need to map out the logic behind this grind before we get to the absolute terminal velocity moment. Basically, we have Danny and Charlotte Cassadine, 2 teenagers who low-key decided that breaking into Windermere was a brilliant idea. Honestly, wait. Why are we like this? Why do the teens in Port Charles always think they are invincible? Danny was on a mission to find dirt on Jen Sidwell, because he believes Sidwell is the reason his father, Jason, is rotting in a WSB maximum security prison. It is a major flex of bravery, sure, but it is also a total game changer of sheer stupidity. Look, Rocco Falconeri literally begged them not to go. Rocco was having a complete emotional breakdown, warning them about Ross Cullum. But did they listen? No. Suddenly, Danny and Charlotte are deep in the damp, terrifying catacombs of Spoon Island, and the vibe just completely redlines into pure horror. Let us just take a second to talk about the absolute nightmare fuel that is the Windermere catacombs. These secret passages under the castle have been the site of so much historical trauma, and now these 2 kids are wandering around in the pitch black, completely unaware of the lethal danger lurking in the shadows. Honestly, I was screaming at my screen. You can practically feel the dampness of the stone walls and hear the dripping water echoing in the silence. Basically, they overheard some terrifying, powerful information, realized they were in way too deep, and tried to bail. But suddenly, out of the shadows steps Ross Cullum. Yes, the high-ranking WSB director who just got out of the hospital after taking a bullet to the back. Look, Cullum is completely unhinged at this point. He has this low-key obsession with the idea that Danny is the one who shot him. Honestly, we all know it was Rocco who pulled the trigger, and Jason falsely confessed to protect Rocco. But Cullum does not care about the truth. He cares about retribution. Cullum corners these 2 terrified kids in the darkest, most isolated part of the Windermere tunnels. He barks at Danny to move, but Danny, channeling that absolute stone-cold Morgan DNA, refuses to back down. Basically, it is a standoff between a heavily armed, deeply corrupt federal agent and a teenager who is in way over his head. Listen, the tension in this scene is a lethal crunch. Cullum raises his weapon. He is fully prepared to execute a teenager in the basement of a castle. He thinks he is tying up loose ends, getting revenge on the kid he thinks shot him, and punishing Jason all at once. Honestly, my heart was pounding so hard, I thought I was having a medical emergency. You can see the sheer terror in Charlotte's eyes, but Danny is just staring down the barrel of the gun. Wait, why are we like this? Why do we subject ourselves to this level of stress? Cullum's finger is literally on the trigger. He is monologuing about how Jason's legacy ends here. It is a raw frame that packs so much emotional devastation. I was fully prepared to watch a tragedy unfold. But then okay, everybody brace yourselves, because this is where the hype redlines and breaks the scale. Suddenly, from the absolute pitch-black darkness of the catacombs, a figure emerges, Jason freaking Morgan. Yes, the legend himself. Unbelievable, guys, what is going on here? How did he even get there, basically? Jason successfully executed a completely impossible prison break from WSB custody. He did not just escape. He seamlessly tracked his son all the way to Spoon Island, navigating the tunnels like a literal ghost. Look, the sheer audacity of Jason silently stalking through the catacombs to protect his blood is a total game changer. He is the ultimate guardian angel wrapped in black leather, and honestly, I was cheering so loud I probably woke up my entire apartment building. Listen to me, Jason does not hesitate. He does not give a dramatic speech. He does not ask Cullum to drop the weapon. Jason does what Jason does best when his family is threatened. Bang! A single fatal, deafening gunshot echoes through the stone walls of Windermere. Jason shoots Ross Cullum dead. He literally drops a WSB director in cold blood to save his son. The vibe is absolutely immaculate and terrifying all at once. Cullum hits the ground completely neutralized, and the silence that follows is thicker than the damp air in those tunnels. Honestly, it was a high-octane jump cut, from absolute despair to transcendent hype. I am low-key obsessed with how ruthless and efficient Jason is. He is a force of nature. Whoa, I've really gone off chasing butterflies into another dimension. I started thinking about the architectural layout of Spoon Island, and how Helena Cassadine used to trap people down there, and I completely lost the plot. My brain is literally short-circuiting from the sleep deprivation and the caffeine. Bringing the signal back, let's stick to the script. We need to focus on the dead WSB director currently bleeding out on the stone floor and the massive, life-altering consequences of what just happened. Basically, let us process the psychic damage of what just went down. Danny and Charlotte are standing there, absolutely paralyzed with shock. Danny is staring at his father, the man he thought was locked away forever, who just materialized out of thin air and committed murder right in front of him. Look, Jason's face in that moment is not triumph. It is pure agonizing burden. He did not want this for his son. Honestly, Jason's entire life has been about trying to keep Danny away from the violence, and now, Danny is covered in the metaphorical and literal fallout of it. Jason steps over Cullum's lifeless body, grabs Danny by the shoulders, and looks him dead in the eyes. Listen, this is where the emotional ambush really hits. Jason tells Danny in that quiet, intense, gravelly voice that he must maintain absolute, unwavering silence about this. Danny cannot tell anyone that Jason is out of prison. He cannot tell anyone that Jason pulled the trigger. Basically, Jason is forcing his teenage son to become an accomplice to the murder of a high-ranking WSB official after an escape. Honestly, it is a massive burden to place on a kid. Jason is doing it to protect Danny, to ensure Danny is not implicated or targeted by the rest of the WSB. But wait, why are we like this? Why does love in Port Charles always look like shared trauma and criminal conspiracies? Look, we need to map out the logic behind the grind here. Jason was already facing charges, but now he is a fugitive who just assassinated a federal agent. This is not just a local Port Charles Police Department issue. This is a global WSB manhunt waiting to happen. The stakes have never been higher. Jason has pushed himself into a corner where there is no legal way out. He is officially a ghost operating entirely outside the law, and he has dragged his son into the exact center of the crosshairs. Honestly, I am terrified for Jason. This is a game changer that permanently alters his trajectory on the show. He can never just walk back into the Metro Court and order a coffee after this. Honestly, Jason can just call Diane Miller right. Diane can fix this. She always fixes this. She can just say it was self-defense and the WSB will just drop it. Wait, no, what am I even saying? I am literally contradicting myself right now because my brain is desperately trying to find a happy ending that does not exist. Basically, you cannot just shoot a federal agent in a basement escape from a maximum security prison and get a slap on the wrist. Jason is entirely screwed. Cullum was corrupt, sure, but he was still a director. The WSB is going to rain absolute hellfire down on Port Charles, and Jason is going to have to hide in the shadows forever. I seriously cannot stay silent about how stressed this makes me. And listen, the complications do not stop there. Suddenly, we have Acting Police Commissioner Dante Falconeri to worry about. Dante is already on high alert. Gio Palmieri just told him that Rocco is an emotional wreck, and Dante knows Rocco shot Cullum the first time. Dante is going to track the kids to Windermere. He is going to find Cullum's body. Look, Dante is a brilliant detective when he wants to be. He is going to find forensic evidence at that scene. A shell casing, a footprint, something. Traces at the scene are already beginning to attract Dante's attention. Dante is going to realize that someone else was in those tunnels. Honestly, Dante is going to be caught in the most horrific conflict of interest in the history of the police department. Basically, imagine Dante finding out that Jason broke out of prison and killed Cullum. Dante has been trying to cover up Rocco's involvement in the first shooting, but now there is a fresh body. Will Dante sweep this under the rug to protect Jason and Danny, or will his new by-the-book partner, Detective Joe Fitzpatrick, force his hand? Fitzpatrick is already suspicious of Dante, honestly. This entire situation is a powder keg. Lulu is frantically trying to get fake passports to flee town with Rocco, completely unaware that Jason just permanently solved the Cullum problem. The dramatic irony is physically painful. I am low-key obsessed with how all these storylines are colliding into one massive disaster. Look, we also have to talk about Danny's mental state. This kid has been carrying the weight of the world. He idolizes his father, but he just witnessed the raw, unfiltered brutality of Jason's world. How is Danny supposed to go back to high school after this? How is he supposed to sit in class knowing his fugitive father is lurking in the shadows? Having just executed a man to save his life, Charlotte is there too. Charlotte is a Cassadine. So she is probably used to finding bodies in her basement, but honestly, this is going to bond Danny and Charlotte in a deeply unhealthy, trauma-bonded way. Basically, Jason saved Danny's life, but he might have just destroyed his soul in the process. Okay, I need to wrap this up before the sun comes up and I completely lose my grip on reality. Unbelievable. Hey guys, what is going on here? We are witnessing absolute peak soap opera cinema. The writers have completely unhinged their jaws and swallowed the entire plot whole. Jason is a fugitive killer. Danny is harboring a lethal secret. Dante is walking into a crime scene. And I am sitting here vibrating at a frequency that could shatter glass. Please, jump into the comments and validate my panic. I need to know I am not the only one spiraling over this total game changer. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys in the next video, assuming I survive the psychic damage of tomorrow's episode.